Asana. Eshu deo deo. Eshu deo deo. Eshu deo deo. Agena. Every morning I awake, I give thanks to my Lord. Eshu ladui umes. All doors open up for me. Bad energies, no room for you, oh no. All good things is I must get through. Ọmọ ẹ̀ ló ìran ní òṣè. Ọ̀la ìlú, èṣùbánikọ̀ ọ̀wọ́ ìlú, òró ìlú, ọ̀la ìlú, ọba ẹ̀ bọ̀rà nílẹ̀ kẹ́tù, èsì ìbẹ́ bọ̀ orúkún, ẹlẹ́gbàrà níbẹ̀ bọ̀ òrùsà, ẹlẹ́gbàrà níbẹ̀ bọ̀ òrùsà, oníbòde. Èṣù deo deo, èṣù deo deo, èṣù deo deo. Pẹ̀lẹ́kẹ̀. Èṣù deo deo. Eshu deo deo, eshu deo deo, eshu deo, eshu deo deo, eshu deo deo, eshu deo deo, baba, eshu deo baba, eshu deo baba, eshu deo deo, eshu deo deo, deo deo, agoya, eshu.
Boshishe to each and every one. We are here on the Iwer way of life, on another night on the street, 919 FM. My co-host, he has some important matters to deal with right now. So, I'm all on my own, doing what I have to do, so we're gonna keep the vibration flowing. We're gonna pay respects. We pay respects to Baba Yeshu to continue opening the doorway for us on this program to carry our prayer solo to Mary. We give praises to Baba Ogun for clearing the pathway for us. Pay respects to Ubaluaye, the Orisha of plagues and pandemics, especially during this time that we are living in. And now I'm going to play a song by Empress Age as we pay respects to the ancestors, those who came before us, those whose shoulders we stand upon, I got the wrong one there, I got the wrong one there. This is the correct one here. A lot of artists in the tradition, in the community, has been putting out good content during this pandemic, and we on the Iwer way of life, we're gonna pay them that respect and get their music out, get whatever contribution they have.
Wale wa egungun ibao wale o. When they try to oppress me, humiliate and stop me, I pour libation and set my supplication into the spirit realm. Never will they let. They see my tears, they feel my pain. With patience, I'll rise again. I must stay focused to fulfill my purpose, and I will conquer all. Ancestors,
Yes, so me back at it at the Iwer Way of Life on the Street 919 FM. We're streaming live on Facebook, you know. Streaming live on Iwer TV on YouTube. As I said before, my co-host is not here. So I start with my Iba, my reverence to God, he that spreads all over the universe. Reverence to the dawn of the day, reverence to the sunset. Reverence to Mother Earth, reverence to Unmilia, witness to creation. Reverence to the 200 Rumale on the right hand side of God. Reverence to the 200 Rumale on the left hand side of God. Reverence to the 400 Rumale, the ones that shuttled between heaven and earth. Reverence to Akoda, the first IFA student. Reverence to Asida, Akoda's first student. Reverence to the mothers, the beautiful birds. Reverence to one's ancestors. Reverence to one's father. Reverence to one's mother. Reverence to one's Olowo. Reverence to one's Ujobuna. So I say welcome to all Ilays, Parleys, all located all over Trinidad and Tobago, the Caribbean, the US, all over the world. Those of you streaming on radio, those of you streaming on Facebook and YouTube, even Instagram on my page, you know, and those of you just listening in Radio Land in your own personal space, at work, in the vehicles, whatever, you know, we have some time, you know, the curfew is now 10 p.m., so we'll continue to obey that. You know, I pay respects to my elders. Are ifa lashe, orisha lashe, igun leti egbe pumeleri. Ye adiola ifa yomi. Ya aga igun bemi ba ya yeshu ba ifa lomi temeleri. All the elders of mice, all the elders that I deal with on a daily basis. I like to shout out some of the folks on Facebook streaming. Dini's here what she says, Alafia, Alison Beans, Adish, Adina Ashelti, it is locked on. Ifaba Mero, F Alibi, Otsa Baba, he says, Aboro Aboye, Aboshishe, Adrian John is locked on. Janet Armstrong, she's locked on. Iaje, she's also locked on. Charmaine Taylor is locked on. Angie St. Paul, always locked on. She don't miss a show. So I'm going to play, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play some clips tonight of the Yoruba Village launch, you know, the only station in Trinidad and Tobago where it's interactive, where you can see what's happening, you can listen and view at the same time. It's on the Street 919 FM here. We keep striving for betterment and doing things, you know what I mean? There's the Iwer Way of Life. One of the major things, you know, we have the titans of democracy, you know, but first and foremost, we have Pastor Google, you know, we have Aisha Wells, and we have Robert and Precious, you know, so it goes on. We even have Mr. Shields on a Saturday, Dominic on a Sunday. So, you know, the Street 919 FM is always doing something to enhance the listenership and the viewership. But first and foremost, I must pay respects to all the sponsors who day in, month out, month in, month out, continue to support the show by this program by all means necessary. I know things are not up how it's supposed to be, you know what I mean, but drip by drip will fill the bucket, and we keep saying to those of you listeners out there, if you want to donate, don't donate anything to me. Just make it payable to Trini Bashment Limited. You know, and you could call me, I'll come and collect it. What part of Trinidad is? You could be in Guaya, I'll come for it. You could be in Kings Bay, in Tobago, I'll come for it. You could be in Westmore, I'll come in for it also. So I'm going to pay respect to the sponsors. Also, the Iwer School of Enlightenment by Nzinga Reid is also a sponsor of this program, Iwer Way of Life. Sponsors for the Orisha Way of Life: Kamara's Culture Store, the #1 importer and supplier of genuine products from Africa, located at Adams Bazaar Main Road, Shogunas. Contact number 672-8438, 320-8866. Gossip Gel Polish, gel with a difference. Contact number 3827587. Come, let us take care of your feet, Petty by Risi. They also sell butters. Contact number 3984474. Nubian Experience, clothing that tells part of our rich African history. Number 6 Woodford Street, Arima. Contact number 6881979. Oriyumi, Nico Loggins, Health and Wealth Lifestyle. Number 73 Eastern Main Road, Barataria. EMG out of Texas. Richie's Tire and Automotive Car Care Center. Number 409 Otello Drive, Hampton, Georgia. Sponsors for the Iwer Way of Life.
Also sponsored by the Throne of Gold for all your African supplies and clothing. Their contact number is 754-5128. That is the Throne of Gold. You can find them on Facebook and also on Instagram. Omo Inu, All Things Woman. For all your Yoni products, they are the sole women's haven distributor for Trinidad and Tobago. Their contact number is 365-4332. You can find them on Facebook and also on Instagram. Black Tie-Dye Catering Service, 683-8755. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram. Awo Wabande Tonic, 388-4606. You can find them on Facebook and also on Instagram. Ile Josio Turameji, Awo Oshun. Thank you.
Yes, as I always say, I must give respect to the people who have here which parties. So I must say thanks to the sponsors for really supporting the show even in the toughest of times. And I will always remember Brother Kamara. He's not with us now. He's now in the ancestral realm, and I will continue to call his name on this show because he was one of the diehard supporters, sponsors of this program. So we're going to go right into the Yoruba Village launch. It's a 2 hours and 30 minutes production. Hope you guys understand and see what's happening behind the scenes. A lot of people, we're going about doing what we have to do and we're not aware of what's going on, but there's a lot of activities that's happening. So may you just sit back, relax, and enjoy the Yoruba Village launch.
Services Librarian 1, and it is my pleasure to bring you greetings on behalf of the Heritage Libraries Division's Director, Mrs. Charmaine Glasgow. Emancipation forever changed the economic, political, and social constructs of our country. It is a time when, as a nation, we recognize the sacrifices made by our ancestors that facilitated the freedoms we enjoy today. African slavery was an organized enterprise and a profitable one. Our first Prime Minister, Dr. Eric Williams, demonstrated in his book, Capitalism and Slavery, that it was the profits from slavery which enriched the Western world and the cessations of those profits that led to the demise of the slave trade. The enslavement of African peoples continued until events in Europe changed the fortunes of the West Indian and North American colonies. In 1833, Thomas Buxton, British philanthropist and parliamentarian, presented the Emancipation Bill in the British Parliament. The Act was passed and came into effect on the 1st of August 1834. On that day, thousands of slaves in the British West Indies became free men and women. 151 years later, on the 1st of August 1985, the government of Trinidad and Tobago declared Emancipation Day a national holiday to commemorate the abolition of slavery, the first nation to officially do so. Emancipation is a time to remember the atrocities and pains which our forebears suffered, to reflect on their determination and the will to survive, and use this as an impetus to celebrate the freedoms we now enjoy. Emancipation is a time to reflect on the beauty of our ancestral culture that has become part of our national identity, to strive for the successes that our ancestors could only dream of. This year, we are celebrating Emancipation Day in the midst of a global pandemic. And while we reflect on the themes of perseverance and resilience, we remember the words of our President, exhorting us to let us not celebrate this occasion as if emancipation has been altogether achieved, but rather to use it as a stark reminder that there are hurdles yet to overcome. Emancipation must produce in all of us an intolerance for bigotry, injustice, and inequity. Together, we must strive towards the ideals of emancipation for all, regardless of creed, class, or color. May God bless Trinidad and Tobago.
guided course of our lives today. We have planned what we have planned to do our business and we are going to because of the circumstances of the COVID-19 and all that its effect that it has on us in our community. So our progress is small. But we have our ancestors here, so we have to learn. The concentration our one of what is right. Yes, we ask that seen and unseen. We ask that God will be well with us today as we move forward. We give thanks and praise to the divine energy. We salute the Mary, we salute and we give thanks to our ancestors, we salute the divine energies of the universe. We give thanks for this day, for this present time of existence, where we supplication and more than all this breath of life will be manifested in us. We give thanks to you. May God be well with us as we move forward. We give thanks to the divine energies of our ancestors. We salute and we ask for Kyrie and Amen from the divine universe. Amen. the utilities operate because there is so much is good. For our brother one. And one more thing, and our sisters, we are here and we have invited them, and so they are here to watch and assist and help us. We thank our Germans, and those are our Germans are people of long standing with a vast amount of experience and a vast amount of knowledge on what we are doing here, especially on the Yoruba village. So we get thanks to the divine energies of our president, our marketing. We can give thanks to our most high Lord to strengthen him to keep him. We have our dear Aina and Amy. So we can give thanks to our brother. He could be here, with all of the challenges. He could be here today because today is a historical, experience for us in this time and space and this life and you understand what is taking place here. And we are the witness. And it will be written down in every time and the news of what is happening here today because it is so important to us in Yoruba village and East Coast Spain and all that we have to do. So we give thanks to our guys over here. President of getting meeting secretary can dance me, continue to work and guide us and keep us and help us as we go forward with your great ideas as we go forward.
Thank you.
Yes.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to the elders among us. Parade. A special greeting goes out to the youngest among us. Yeah. A special welcome goes each and everyone. Yeah, welcome. Welcome. You have no idea how much, how glad I feel to be here. So, I want to thank everyone. I want to welcome everyone. If I pray, thanks to you. And we want to thank the unity for being here. There's all 401. And that one signifies infinity. The 400 plus infinity, right? So when we say 400, one will be like, so, welcome, and I want to turn you over to the mistress of ceremony. Yeah.
I know everyone is in the space, just in the space, but the space is packed, it's filled. Thank you for that wonderful welcome and introduction, President and leader of, as always, the Iwer, rousing and powerful. This auspicious occasion is certainly a privilege for me to be here, furthermore to be asked to speak, and to be the mistress of ceremony. Always like to be speaking to pick. Because people like to say MC and I'm just an MC.
Mistress of ceremony.
Yes. Yes. This time is significant and in a variety of ways and warrants. Although it is not on the program, but I'd like us to keep a moment of silence for all those ancestors that have passed. And specifically those recently those who have passed were on their way to being ancestors and need that extra energy and focus in their transitional journey. them. From the indigenous one, from those, from many, come forward. When we reflect on history that has brought us, the history that has brought us here to this particular point, it will be too much for me to read all at once. It will be too much to discuss in one sitting. But the longest journey starts with a step. We sang praises to Yeshu and the way made it open. Our ancestors, we know of Yeshu and only worship because of our ancestors. And in this decade for the people of African descent, United Nations recalled its resolution 1904 of 20th December 1963, which proclaimed the UN Declaration on the Elimination of all forms of racial discrimination, and in particular its affirmation that any doctrine of racial differentiation or superiority is scientifically false, morally condemnable, socially unjust, and dangerous. It has expressed alarm at the manifestations of racial discrimination still in evidence in some areas in the world, some of which are imposed by certain governments by means of legislative, administrative, or other measures. And it's the other measures that are the most wicked, because usually not easily able to identify them. They underneath, you know, they subliminal, and it's very subtle. Therefore, in 1973, the UN instituted a 30-year program for the eradication of racism. Since 1973. I was only 2 years old. The UN World Conference Against Racism, Racial Discrimination, Xenophobia, and Related Intolerance held in no other place but Durban, South Africa. In 2001 was the third and final conference of that 30-year program. So that was in 2001. In 2001, the International World Orisha Congress or conference was going on also in Nigeria. I remember because I was there. And today marks an answer to a prayer that just as I was experiencing and other Trinidadians, other people from England and American diaspora getting together and witnessing, experiencing the connection as people of African descent, as black people, feeling at home, that we would go to our spaces and claim our specific situations of reclamation, reparation, and reconnection. And it is manifested here. Because we're going to be seeing and claiming these places and their names. So that the evidence of our existence will not be unknown, will not be subliminal, it will be over and big. So the conference resulted in the Durban Declaration and Program of Action, DDP. Following the conference, a working group of experts on people of African descent was established to monitor the implementation of the DDP. This is since 2001. The year now is 2021. And so it's been a long journey to the international recognition that is necessary. Governments and prime ministers have apologized. Statues have come down. Everyone thing apologize for participation in and the continuance of such challenges. But it's not enough until all have crossed, none are free. Yes, so it is my pleasure to introduce Iwer who will be sharing with us $1 billion shall rise. So, as Iwer organizes and prepares, I will share some more. In 2009, the UN held its first follow-up to the Durban Conference. And that resulted in the UN General Assembly Resolution 68/237 that proclaimed the International Decade of People of African Descent to be observed from 2015 to 2024. We only have 3 more years. Because I'm going our tradition. Yes. So, issue, elect back. Yes. Let me go. For things to be made concrete. When we talk was about the war. Yes. Right? Yes. Yes, time. So, yeah. What would you like? wonderful, excellent, all to put into words with song, with music, with drum, how you feel. I put on the place progress 1 billion in the end.
And here before we move on, that song we received to have it in 100 languages before the end of the day.
That is quite necessary. I agree.
100 languages.
All languages. Yes, here Oshuniemi represents not only our traditional way of life, some people say religion. She's pianist, she's teacher, she's West Village dancer, alumni, all in one encapsulated real representation of the diversity that we have in her heritage, ancestry, and her place in the world. She's not just taking up space, she's making space, which is what the black woman has been doing all along. No matter what comes, no matter what challenges, the black woman has been doing it. Because we have to understand our role, and we don't. The universe ensures that we do. Thank you so much. Queen! Believe it. 1 billion has risen. So, we talked about this decade of people of African descent. What does it present? It presents a unique opportunity to build on the international way. This work, the solid framework for the United Nations, member states, civil society, and other relevant actors, they can join together. It is a focal point, but it's not just about emancipation, it's not a day. The work that has to be done is not just for a decade. That decade is just a focal point. A launch pad, a stage for us to bring those pains to the fore, heal, move on. Not move on forgetting where you come from, but moving on because of what you have come through. Not forgetting, but understanding that tongue and teeth clash. Understanding that as black people, we understand that probably no other people may have been able to teach the world what we have taught the world after what we have been through. And will continue to teach the world how to heal. Trinidad and Tobago has been unique in how we have been able to do that. Because there are few spaces where different cultures have come together. And yes, we have our challenges, but we continue to work, and we must get it right. We have ancestors who have shown the world that we will continue to fight until we get it right. We could call the names, Kwame Ture, George Padmore, Sylvester, Montezuma Lazar, Elmer Francois, we could call the names. Yes? But it is important to underline the contribution made by people of African descent to our societies, to propose concrete measures to promote their full inclusion and to combat racism, racial discrimination, xenophobia, and related intolerance. So it was really wonderful to see the monuments walk outside Treasury Building. Alright? It is wonderful and encouraging to know that your Rubber Park stands and is used. It is wonderful to see the carving, the monument with the pan man and so on, because the pan represents so much. Yes. However, we shall not rest. Columbus must come down. Yes. Columbus must come down. He must come down. Yes. Sooner or later, it is already late. It must come down. It needs to be put into perspective. Yes, it happened. We will not forget. But it is not to be highlighted. No, must pass us here for time. No. No, we need to put things in perspective. So, coming to give us his perspective. His Grace Archbishop of Tokyo State, Father Jason Paul. If we are focusing and we are serious about reclamation, reconnection, and reparation, I will be with bated breath to the state of everything.
I wasn't quite sure what the forum would be or how it would proceed. As I came prepared with different things, I was told about Gonzalez if I would share that, and I'll do something on that. And on Friday Gonzalez. But first I wanted to share a little thought or two on emancipation. In my homily on emancipation, the article I wrote for Emancipation Day on the Catholic News, I made the point that emancipation is a pivotal movement within Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean. It's a pivotal day because everything else about our history from that moment on was shaped by emancipation. The arrival of the Chinese was because of the end of the slave trade. The arrival of the Indians was because of the end of slavery. The arrival of the Portuguese happened just around the time of emancipation. And so all of these pivotal movements that make modern Trinidad and Tobago really are happening all around this one event that we call emancipation. And in 1854, when the King signed the Declaration for Emancipation, it took 4 more years for the slaves to be actually freed from the plantation. The logic emerged then that the planters had to be paid back for the asset that they lost in the slave. And it's really amazing to me that nobody made the logic that the slave had to be paid back for the time that they were robbed when their labor was forced out of them on the plantation. And once you play with that illogic, then so much of what we experience in Trinidad and Tobago today is part of that illogic. For me, emancipation is not an event which happened 170-something years ago. Emancipation is actually a process that is still happening today. There's a famous theologian, Portrait Davis, Jamaica, who wrote a book, a theological work, and its title was Emancipation Still Coming. And in the book, he is teasing out that emancipation is the key to interpret all of the social reality that we have in the Caribbean today. Because whether you look at the underdevelopment of certain communities or the racial admixture of the whole nation, emancipation is that pivotal moment that set things in motion. The fact is that with the illogic of the planter being paid back, but the slave not being compensated, what came forward from there to 2021 is the pockets of underdevelopment that we continue to have, both through Trinidad and Tobago. Whether you're talking in Yarrow and the great underdevelopment there, or in Central with East Indian communities there, or in Lamantil and environments, the lack of infrastructure and proper development there. Whether we're talking about the emancipation that began in 1834 has not yet come to its completion in 2021. And if we could agree or accept that, then the real question that we have every time emancipation comes around is how do we continue this process of emancipation so that next year when we celebrate, we have a little more to celebrate than we had this year. And that's, I think, one of the critical things. When Gypsy sang his calypso, Little Black Boy, do you remember that one? Yeah? Everybody hold their head and ball. When singing Sandra sang, there's a missing generation. People hold their head and ball. But both of those songs are speaking to the emancipation which is still coming. Because emancipation isn't just the fact that the person who was a slave is now a free person. It also has to do with our consciousness. It also has to do with the way that we're living our life. Most of the gun violence that we face in Trinidad and Tobago, I would say, is out of mental slavery. Most of it is out of mental slavery. And that mental slavery, if we understand it, has its roots right back in the plantation system and in the lack of development that we have not done in the intervening period. And so the emancipation theme, which is a pivotal theme, has really to be seen not only as a celebration of things past, but it has to be a questioning of things present. And it has to be a commitment to things present. And whereas we absolutely need to identify and celebrate things African, I think we also need to celebrate things African as it has developed in Trinidad and Tobago. We can't go back to Africa and find the calypso. For the pan, as the mass, the craft that we do, the way that we walk, the way that we talk, the piece of the emancipation thing for me that I feel needs a little more push is what have we done from 1838 to today to build culture in Trinidad and Tobago and demonstrate that these people who were former slaves are slaves no longer, but free people. And free people who have grown culture, free people who have grown institutions, free people who have grown and developed things in our nation that were not existing before. And that you can't find if you go to Africa. And if we could somehow capture generation of young people who are lost right now, a hope and a focus to capture what they can contribute to and the grounds that they will need to be in their time hereafter. So I wanted to just start with that, to say that, when I got the invitation, I just asked one question. I have anything down that time? And when my assistant said no, I said, I don't know. Where will you? And here, because there is a work to be done that has not yet been done in our nation. And it is a work of consciousness. When Bob Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery, he touched on a raw nerve, He touched on a very raw nerve.
I think that's why he said it.
Possibly. Because what he was touching on is the fact that emancipation had happened in 1834. But mental slavery is still about people today. And that is really the challenge that we're facing. When the fellas with the guns believe that being a man is really about killing people or having gold by not working or whatever the mental images are, where they're not taking care of their children, they're not responsible for the woman, they're not nurturing family, they're not being a responsible human being. That is a form of mental slavery. And that mental slavery, which is still about today, really begs the question of emancipation for all of us. For all of us. And so, from my perspective, emancipation is both an event, 1834, 1838. But emancipation, I believe, is much more a process, 2024. And emancipation is still coming. And that our role and responsibility is to work for that emancipation every single day, so that we leave a generation more conscious than the generation that we came in. And that's what I think.
Exactly who do you need?
Every one of us. Every one of us. We all have to pitch in our hands, our hearts, our minds, our energy into helping the emancipation of all of our people. Go ahead.
All of us, meaning all of the people or all of the organizations or the state, the ministers, everybody. In
January 2020, just before COVID, the Prime Minister had invited a group of religious to his residence. And I said to them, well, if I'm coming, it's because I want to share something. And I shared this with the Prime Minister and the members of the cabinet who were present at the occasion, that until the government and the churches and the organizations make a commitment to the schools and the communities that are failing, we have failed. Because we don't have failing schools here. We have us failing those schools. And when we fail those schools, we fail those children. And when we fail those children, what we really have is we have a generation coming that are not emancipated. Yes. Because they have a generation in mental state. And so that's how I see it as simple and straightforward.
I want to share with you something. The reason for you being here I said, but why the expression? You know, that just say things people are asking me, why me? I asked the same question, you know, but I listened. And I listened to what they said, and that is the main reason why you are here today, because of what they said. Very much what they said, what you say today, that is why you are here. Now, Gonzalez, the pride of Gonzalez, I knew you back then, you know, up and down. I want to find out from you, what was that initiative? What was the aim, objective? Did it succeed? Did it fail? Is it still on? If not, why not? What was, where did you get your support? Did you get support from the community, from the state, from private enterprise? How did they relate to your project? Because we are going into something almost similar. Yeah. And we want to know what are some of the pitfalls.
Okay. And I can walk you through a presentation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Nice pictures, and so that might be helpful. Friday Gonzalez came about when I was appointed to Gonzalez as the parish priest in January 3rd, 2003. And by March that year, we had already had 5 murders in 6 weeks. And the murders hit the community in a very deep and profound way. And when people ask me about Gonzalez, I'd like to do this, because I wanted to see how beautiful the place is. I want people to see that the place, I mean, look at that. It has a beauty all of its own, in its rustic nature. Yeah. It has its own beauty. So the whole thing was about building safer communities through participation. And that's what it was about. Because what we tend to do is the government will come in and make a plan for a community and tell the community that's the plan. And then when the government finish with the plan, the community mash it up because they didn't participate in it. And so participation is really a key if you want to do any kind of development or any kind of change. So the mission for the Friday Gonzalez is a village revitalization program using the tools of urban planning and community building to foster participatory governance at the village level. Because the future of the nation is really in the village level. Prime Minister Eric Williams understood that. When he did the Best Village competition, what he did was he started to realize that if we build capacity in the village, we build capacity in the whole nation. And so the village is really that wonderful point. So if that is the whole city of Port of Spain, you see where Gonzalez is. The little red things. I like to tell people the city of Port of Spain, and you can see where the city ends, in that line coming. But actually, the city goes into Gonzalez. But what you call the economic city, you can see kind of where it ends, we call it the river. And you know you have something here behind the bridge. So what I like to tell people is the city of Port of Spain has 2 levels. A fiscal level, where it does its commerce, and a cultural level, where we both culture and rhythm and experience that has been the pride of Trinidad and Tobago. calypso, you name it. It came from that side of the bridge. And whereas all the infrastructure is put in place in the nice grid-like city, which is the economic part, the cultural part does not have the infrastructure necessary to boost that culture, to take it to the next generation. I mean, I dreamt of a time when you could have an all-inclusive in Gonzales of every Friday night, and everybody would make anything, have it there for sale, and people could come and have this to eat and a that to eat and this music and that music, because Gonzales had 14 different groups dealing with culture. And most of those people would do it. And we're rich with culture, but poor with work. So something has to be wrong with that. And it's because the community does not have the infrastructure for it. So if you look at Trinidad and Tobago, you look at the city of Port of Spain with 49,000, East Port of Spain, 12,000, Gonzales and 5,600 people. And you see the unemployment rates are fairly high, but we know that. 20% in East Port of Spain, and the figures from the 1990 census said about only 26% of Gonzales residents are earning a regular income. And when you look at the household income at 3,300, and the modal income, which is the most often, is about $1,000, you know we have a problem in terms of sustainability. Derek Walcott, the playwright, said this, and I thought it's so beautiful. It's on a thing called play they call Steel. He said, what survives and
Excuse us, we want to change it. A great man said,
Right.
the further backward you look, the further forward you see. That's the Winston Churchill. Another great man said, if Laventille falls, Trinidad falls.
Absolutely.
I mean, that doesn't make sense.
Absolutely. Because if Laventille falls, and these hills rock, oh yeah, the country's going to be in trouble. So Derek said this, the good-heartedness, and for me, the people of Trinidad are good-hearted. No matter what the exterior contradictions are, they don't treat the situation spiritually. It's a spiritual crisis, not a political one. You can't redeem it by money. It has to be by example and by sacrifice. The reason I did steal, it's a very real thing to have had in any country devoted to making music competitive. To take people who were socially inferior, devoting themselves to music. The wars were over music. That's extreme literacy. Gangs fighting over who can read Neruda better. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes.
So that's Walker. He sees the real challenge that we have I'm going to skip forward a little bit to talk more about. So what we did was we did a lot of partnerships. So the community of Gonzales, the city of Port of Spain, created would be a different municipal body, would be Sao Lamontel. The Canadian Institute of Planners, there was a Trinidadian who was in the Canadian Institute and did a project for Gonzales and partnered with us. East Port of Spain Development Company, you remember the government has started up this company. Town and Country, Ministry of Community Development, Ministry of National Security, University of West Indies, UNICEF, and Community International Development Agency. What we did, a lot of people were looking at Laventille Gonzales in those days and trying to do something, and they couldn't do anything because it's something else when you come from outside and trying to find an inroad to make something happen. The whole project really started after the murder of a young boy on Friday. And I called all the leaders of the community together. When I say leaders, I mean the people who had small business in the community, the people who had, like the Hindu leader, all of the different groupings, all the cultural leaders, everybody. And we sat down and we just talked about what we want for Gonzales. And then they started a simple conversation, what do we want? What we want for this community that we're all in right now. And out of that conversation, many different things emerged. And people started to say what they really wanted to see. And most communities have a wish list of things that, you can kind of understand it. And I'm going to wish this up. Once we determined that people wanted something, and we got the elders to come together, then the harder piece was to get the young people to come together. And we had a football match that they asked me to help. And I worked with all of them, and we hadn't had a small road in Gonzales for 4 years because of gun violence. But remember, Gonzales had 5 gangs in and around it. You had Fresh down below, you had Snake Island on the side, you had Chris Bulls up on top, you had the Sandys up on top, you had Corey Street, had Kamara, who was up like pepper. So no matter where you turn in Gonzales, it was like an old medieval city where every entrance did have a gang guard. So there was nowhere to go. But what eventually happened, we had a football match, young people said they wanted, I helped them with it, and it failed. I asked them, well, what do you want to do? So we had to call everybody together to ask what we really want. I said, what do you need? They said, I need flyers. How many? 200. What the flyers need to see? So they tell me what the flyers need to see. I got it done and I dropped it back for them. So when they got back their flyers, they sent it out, and 56 young people came out on a Sunday evening. And those were young men, I think there were 5 women in the group. So about 51 young men below the age of 55 came out, which you know on a Sunday evening, and these things that to do. But they organized it, and it was their initiative. What did we eventually do? Well, the first thing was we identified all the village leaders. And I learned, because I did an intervention in St. Barb's, and during that intervention, I didn't realize that the Sandy brothers were both in jail and still running the yard. And we started a lot of things that it was happening, and then boys started to catch a lot of limbs. And in an event we had, an amazing event, that day they called the shot and Prophet was killed. I don't remember Prophet from Snake Island. Prophet was shot that day. And I realized a very difficult lesson. You have to know all the leaders. If you can't guess on who the leaders are, you have to know. Everybody was a say, you have to know. And then you have to get people to say what they want. And that's your vision or your mission statement. And even if you drive into Gonzales today, you'll see on the wall of the committed road going up, you'll see it written there. And there's another part coming in you see there too. Create what's the assets in this community? Who are the people who can do things to make things better in the community? And then next, what are the issues that the community are interested in? And that's the most important one. And then once they've done that, they form your working groups around the issues, and then they develop a plan for the whole village to become better. And then they establish a project team among the villagers. And then you evaluate it, and you post your implementation and the support. So when this was the statement that was done, and it was done by the people, change it, tear up and write again, about 10 times we write it, until this was what, and it's been up everywhere where it used to be. It's still in a couple places in Gonzales. Building on our people's pride and strength, Gonzales will celebrate, enhance, and sustain a stable family environment and diverse heritage, culture, art, and business community for all. That's a beautiful statement. And this is from them. All I was doing was writing. And they kept, no, you gotta put celebrate into it. We don't dread people. I mean, at each word that went had a whole explanation. And it was real fun. These were the issues that they identified in order of importance. So, again, the issues are mine. The community said these are our issues. Crime, unemployment, disposal of garbage, new facilities to be done, roads and infrastructure, street lights, inadequate social activities and water. A simple thing like a standpipe in Upper Gonzales. Upper Gonzales had one standpipe only. And guys came from all over to that standpipe. And that was supposed trouble. Because they don't move from this side and move from that side and from the next side. One of the first things we did was got 6 standpipes in the community. And that settled down and eased up the problems significantly. So the disposal of garbage is a very real problem. So all of these are and of course the crime was in the law. You know, we put a group of villagers around each of these. I want to tell you a beautiful story. Gonzales had no water for 3 months at one stage. And I was doing a television interview, a television event, and I was talking about the community, and I said, imagine, we reached the 2004 or 2005, and we're talking about 2020 vision, but this community has had no water for 3 months. Well, that made newspaper front page everywhere. The CEO for Wassa called and said, this is impossible. We have no community without water. I said, well, I invite you. Come and see. He landed up with the regional manager for the area and the technician in the area. And we sat down, and in a place like this, our church hall, and we having a meeting. I said, so where's this community? So we talked about the parts of Gonzales that have no water. So the CEO turned to the regional man and said, but how is this possible? He said, well, I don't know. And the regional man started to give an explanation. And one of the residents who was on the water committee, and he called Judy Short, I don't know if you know Judy, the house burned not too long ago. Judy sat down with him and looked at all of them, and then she said, excuse me, sir. Excuse me, my French. We're talking rubbish. This is the regional manager explaining to the CEO, you're talking rubbish. So everybody get quiet. Judy said, let me tell you the problem. When Hilton Hotel started up, you took our water and you sent it to Hilton Hotel. And anytime we start to burn tires, you open it back and give us back. That was the plan check. And you see how it was derelict. And we had thought we could do something like this. But it didn't quite work out. But what you had in everything we did, you see a lot of people coming together. And that's how you build it from the ground up. You see people, what they want for their community, what's the issues, and who is willing to work on each issue must have a little thing.
What is the name of this community? Shakers.
It's a small band, Shakers, yes.
Singer. single fan.
Yeah.
Single fan. Yeah.
So I would, what I would say is, up until COVID, it was still going. The government put in a police post in there, and a lot of things around that, and then church and city, and they worked a lot together. COVID kind of made it, closed it for the time being. But as soon as it eases up again, we're going to go back again. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Archbishop. And one of the things that our president of SLNC mentioned is being uncomfortable in the cathedral. Oh God, she said, John, gotta come on this too. Yeah, Archbishop. Oh, you have to put it in. Yes. And similarly, some of us probably didn't know that we come in and listen to the Archbishop. Yes, we did. But as our ancestors and our elders would have taught us, tongue and teeth have to chew food for the body. So it is really important for us to understand our perspectives and understand how we can work together to make sure that for the next generation that it's better than. Because we cannot undo everything at one time. We will have to work. There are some things that you can undo one time. You take out the statue and put it somewhere. We cannot dismantle the Roman Catholic Cathedral. We cannot dismantle all the, and we can't keep dwelling on it, but we can move forward and use the resources and connections that we have to ensure that we do something better, build something better in the future. Right? The Archbishop mentioned about 14 cultural groups, and you were speaking about Gonzales.
Gonzales.
Yes, in this book, Trajectories of Freedom, Caribbean Societies, in one of our discussions, it was mentioned by Baba and Alice saying that they have a lot, and we encourage them to read it. It mentions Africans and their descendants. This is the conclusion. I'll tell you which chapter. Africans and their descendants in East Port of Spain used culture to convey a political vision, one of resistance to oppression. The Midnight Robbers, the Damlorays, the Bats, the Jumbies, the Devils, the Peregrinans. Some of these representing various spirits. They continue these same characters through, though with African names, can still be found in Ogun, Oshun, Oya, Benede, and Igungun festivals of Nigeria today, all in their splendor. And we have in Trinidad our own Igungun celebrations. We have our own Benede celebrations. We have our own Oshun celebrations. We have our Ogun celebrations. The intentions are here and not covered up, not masked. The masks are off, and we are celebrating ourselves. Yeah? So the writers talk about the refusal to negate the cultural continuities that they were able to create for themselves. So, what do we do? We refuse to negate ourselves. We shall be ourselves. To the extent that they were able to communicate this vision through their cultural products. The calypso, the pan, calendar. African folk became their liberation fighters and revolutionaries. The artistic expressions, products of the creative imagination, provide important insights understanding human society in this area of Port of Spain. And they want to talk about several artists. We can talk about the Chief Leroy Clark and others. Of course, the palace and so on.
Leroy was right there.
Right there.
Last Sunday.
Yes. Lazana Pasi or Quasi. Lazana Pasi. Right? And important newspaper articles and so on. I don't know, you will correct me, if your father, Mr. Pass, was in the Gonzales area, but I know that your family, no, but I know that your family would have had one of the oldest shrines, one of those people who refuse. They refuse to be masked, refuse to be excluded. They maintain their traditions. And in all your splendor, you're continuing the traditions. Right? So I'm speaking about the daughter of Elder Wilfred Baker, fondly known as Baba Skate. Yes, this is Sister Anna Marie Baker, and her family just joined us. Welcome. Welcome to ESTAC Pool, who joined us, and Miss June Solomon. So, Ia is going to share with us some information about the history, continued history of this process. Because what we're going to reveal, it didn't just happen. We couldn't just go and make a map. No. Yes, so it's a process and it continues. So, Ia, thank you.
Good afternoon. I've done that African wedding before. I came here Wednesday ornament. And it was really lovely people as well. I listened to the Archbishop. I would like to, one of the things I'm going to do today is talk about the effects of having the Europeans teach our youth about our politics. Right? So a lot of negative things happen. It's a ripple effect. So I mean, most of when you speak to youth these days, all they talk about is Africa in terms of slavery, or all the things that we actually contributed to is music or dance. But there's so much more, you know. And I've heard the Archbishop speak about Gonzales. Now Gonzales is just one of the cities that make up something that what we will call Yoruba village. Now Yoruba village in East Port of Spain, I think it's in the early 1800s. That terminology or that layman term they use is something called Yoruba town, and but really and truly I think about 5 cities they identify where the Yoruba people will have settled along with other tribes. Right? So I believe Gonzales is one. I think Mofa, let me just get it correct. Yeah, Belmont. Right, so these environments, right, so the suburbs of Belmont, Gonzales, Lamington, and Mofa were known as the Yoruba village, as I mentioned, or Yoruba town, because of the large number of Yoruba-speaking population to be part of it, right? Now, the whole team of what we're trying to do today, and what we intend to continue doing, because I remember the Archbishop saying it's something that each and every one of us has to do in order for people to know where they're going and know where they come from, right? So, and we have to understand and respect the icons that would have contributed to our society and to our growth. And to that whole, I mean, I think, you know, in the last 50 years, I believe African culture, African contributions have been respected by our communities. I believe the religions. I don't know how long the Orisha or the Ifa religion would agree. But I mean, I know if we have a Orisha wedding, we have a Orisha priest. But in the last 50 years, and I believe there's a placard that they would have placed the Yoruba village, so that when they enter, you will know that this is Yoruba village. So I mean, I would say that the government different tribes would have came into the country, and most of them would have settled in this area, right? So in the Bible it says Israel will perish for lack of knowledge, right? So it's the same thing that you will look in any religion. We have to be taught. You see the old movies where you see the old African ladies sitting down and telling the children stories, or even in the Americans, you will see it. You always have to have that culture, that history being passed on accurately, you know. And a lot of the crime, you realize that this area, Yoruba village, a lot of the media will only show crime or violence or lack of community, you know. There's not much black businesses, you know. We see a market for black businesses as much, and all of this will be side effects of that lack of education being passed on, lack of self-esteem, lack of self-pride, lack of self-knowledge. But when you understand that the contribution, I mean, it's only when I got was about 20 something, then I realized that electricity was actually developed by a black man. So you know, when you see the positive things, when you see the positive things, or that we were actually intelligent, that we knew what was happening, so that we knew, you know, we have other things that can be showcased by the media, even television shows. Yeah, they will have more pride in themselves, and they will say that, you know, if these people can do some great things, we can do some great things as well, right? One of the initiatives of the Yoruba village is as follows. So we have this exhibition, which Alina would have mentioned. We have the lunch today, and we have a formal program that we will be again using education and different things that we will be doing within a formal program, right? So what the Yoruba village intend to do is to tell the story of this outstanding community from the Yoruba village to Belmont, Gonzales, Damage, and Nova, and back to the Yoruba village. It will explore and showcase the customs and traditions of the dynamic kingdoms that existed in that space, which would have been the tribes I mentioned before, Rada, Igbo, Congo, Ashanti, etc., that informed our calypso pan and many aspects of our cannibal portrayals. So, you saw, for example, when the Archbishop showed the pan theater that we wanted to do. You know, that's one of the things that we want in life. And the pan is known all over the world, and it would have been because of people who came from Europe. A lot of our culture, not just cannibal, a lot of our culture, our drums, the food that we eat, these people have contributed not just to the environment, but to the land they work on a whole. So the main objective are to provide a solid launching pad to the research and development of the Yoruba village, then invite the nation to make good its promise of every creed and race shall find an equal place, right? Non-recognize the law-standing African institutions, the PANIA, with a section performing companies, mass camps, as produced, all of which came from the bowels of the Orisha and Ifa. Orisha shrines existed in the communities as center of excellence, education and discipline to take the lead in the education of our jewels. Also to explore a range of topics with a view to developing curriculum and identifying the organizations and individuals who will assist in this regard. We're going to challenge this creative community to see themselves as heroes, victors instead of victims of slavery, colonialism, and neocolonialism. And in doing so, we will be able to overwrite, right, and to remove the shadow that was placed upon our people, our community, and trying to pay one hand. And all of this will piggyback on the UN saying that we have the decade of, what is the UN decade of Africa? Which is supposed to end in 2021, 2024. So this is not just, we're going from community, we're not trip by trip the buckets. So we started with Gonzales, and maybe we can go here and go there, trip by trip the buckets first. And if one tells one, somebody will tell somebody. And we all will work as a team. You know, it's not just one religion. To change our mindset, 40 years we talk about slavery, let's 40 years. I'm still seeing what happened because of that. I mean, if we start now, we can do more, right? That's one more thing I would like to say, right? We have a way, we just wait until people get very old with that, then to understand their contributions, so they will be able to recognize them as an icon, right? So, I mean, one of the things I would really love us to do is that, as the Archbishop mentioned earlier, we have to recognize the positive contributions that Africans have made to our society. We have to show it, even as small as it might be, we have to show it is a significant thing. As simple as the roti skin, Africans have a lot to do with it, but people don't even know that. Right? It's not just music, it's not just carnival, it's food, it's clothing, it's everything. We all came together to make London what we have. They're just like Africans alone, we also ask for Caribbean, we have contributed to the Caribbean as well. Right? So, I mean, we have to push what is going out there. We have to be responsible for what people see as well. So, I'm hoping that our youth, when they see this, they'll have more pride in themselves, have more confidence in themselves. They will understand that they don't just come from slaves, they're not just making it, not just about crime, and in having pride in themselves and education, being educated, they will be able to make more informed decisions and be better people, right? So, so thank you very much.
Thank you. And Sister Veronica mentioned the point of view that's for me, especially as an educator, the importance, the significance of education, not indoctrination. Because if you go to school and you leave school not understanding the essence of your self-worth, you weren't educated. It's still waiting on an education. So if our youth are going through our education system without, even if they have a million degrees, they have all the certificates, and they don't have that self-worth and don't understand the significance of what you do and your work, contributing to your society and pulling someone else up, then you haven't really been educated. So that it must add to your self-worth. I should reflected on something, commented on something that our Archbishop had shared when she was talking about education. She spoke about the communities, the nations, rather Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa. In this area, which would be Yoruba or Yoruba village, Yoruba kingdom, because and I'm not just speaking from research, but I'm speaking from spirit. And I like to walk after spirit, not in front. Yes, because the emotion herself said, call it so young, call it so, this Yoruba thing, call it so, Yaraba. And when we do the research into that word, they would call a big pot that everybody could eat from the Yaraba. Yes, so when we talk about it, we can understand what the significance of Yaraba. We all from one pot. Could be fair. Yes? She spoke about our rich culture and diversity, and especially with you standing there all resplendent from Gilly to train, it was so important to understand positives, how proud we feel in our own skin. Yes, with our own hair, however we decide to style it, however we decide to portray it. Just this and even down to nail polish. Yes? So it's about knowing who you are, what you're about, and always representing the sacrifice of our ancestors with excellence.
Before you introduce the next speaker, could you just say a little bit of what took place at Millfield?
About what?
Millfield.
Yes. I'll get to there. Thanks, huh? Because, no interrupt the Baba. Yes. Yeah, I was talking about the excellence because of the sacrifices of our ancestors. It was which day we went to Israel? The day when the river come down. Maraval River. St. John's River. Cast all the way. Yes. Water. The sky is open. And just before that, we were at Millfield. Thinking, feeling, sensing. Some of us even see it. Those ancestors who were denied, those ancestors who sacrificed, those ancestors who was acknowledged as they did it, which with such excellence and such perfection, without the modern day tools that we have to get the stones out of the quarry, to build, literally build Port of Spain. They had to raise your poles. And watching one of those elders who would have done the work, building on the work of elders who came before her, dance in Millfield to the drum of another elder. It was amazing. It was priceless. There were cameras, but they couldn't capture all that we felt. It was really exquisite. To recognize that a baton was passed to Iwer and others of her generation and to Baba. And they would have received that baton when it wasn't as comfortable as it is for us to have our hair, to wear our clothes, to speak, to announce to the world we are who we are, Orisha, Ifa. It wasn't popular. It wasn't newspapers. You couldn't open the newspaper and say, boom, coming down the road. That just wasn't happening. And they did it. They went up into East Port of Spain and started homework centers and that type of thing. And to see the baton passed to another person who had been junior at the time, now elder as well, passing the baton on with another young man who did the math, proudly announcing his African name. Names are important. Names are important. So some people say they have history and currency in their European name that they go on with, and they go back and discover no name. Sorry for all you. Oroko Mini Aina Orisha Bumi Uluka Iwore. I bet back and get mine. If you don't want to get yours, to each his own. So, one who has always claimed their names, all of them, is our MP for Darlington West and Minister of National Security, the Honorable Fitzgerald Hyde. I am so sorry, but I want you to announce to everybody again what is the traditional name that you also carry with pride. Yes? I have always, even before I had my own locks, I say, well, yes, if he could have locks, mommy will tell me I get it mine. Yes, it is important how we present ourselves. It is important what we do with the resources that we have, not only for ourselves, but for those who are coming after us. And we give thanks for all that you do, all that you have done, and all that you have committed to continue to do. You're walking the talk. So it is our honor to invite you, of course, to address us and to join the local and our Archbishop after you speak to reveal what the map of East Port-of-Spain is going to be like with the additional names claiming our space in our space.
Recognition and introduction. Let me immediately recognize the fathers and father elders, the Orisha tradition, the late Brother Iwer, very potent, long-standing example to us all in African consciousness. All the other members of the Orisha tradition. Let me recognize, of course, brother, father, leader, Archbishop Jason Gordon, who has asserted himself as true brother, true son, true father, true leader, among our people for as long as I have ever known him. Let me recognize the office manager of the office, the member of parliament for the West Moon Solomon, who took the responsibility to ensure my presence on time here today. Though having done so well to organize that I be here on time, I still am with sincere apologies to all of you. A bit late, but to assure you that I was elsewhere in the field serving the day as you have elected me to, and as I understand my own duty is to do. Today is a very beautiful and special day for all of us. In this case, in this community, in Trinidad and Tobago, in the region, and certainly in the world, and in history. A great day. When I entered this space, and I saw it was a small gathering, that inspired me. Because usually, beautiful things come in very small parcels. We are more accustomed in our socialization to expecting large this and big that and massive this, but that's not how God works. As the Bible says, wisdom is found in the simplest and the humblest of places in the nick of time. So I am thankful that we are here. I am not unmindful of the fact that by virtue of our presence here today, we could all thank the Orishas, thank our ancestors, thank God for being present today. The world would have lost, they say, about 5 million people, but there are some commentators who feel it might be more like twice that amount. To the dreaded element of COVID-19, and among us, there's a beautiful brother during the course of the struggle against COVID. Someone called me in a panic and told me that Brother Iwer was afflicted, and that it is only the Orishas who must stand for the life and still rest in his action. And you know, we have to be thankful. Be thankful. Our Creator, we thank our ancestors for bringing us thus far. As for me, I understand what you said Madam Master of Ceremonies, when I hear you say that it wasn't always like this. It wasn't always that we carried ourselves with the pride that we now do. It wasn't always that we took proudly the name. I remember when former President Arthur Raymond Robinson had gone to Africa and came back having been awarded a chief and assumed his name. We, in our ignorance, in many ways, many people would have laughed at him. I must tell you truthfully, by virtue of the fact that I'm a child of the 70s, and I grew up in Laventille and in Belmont, and was in the middle of 1990, an age about 12 years old, but I was very mindful of what was happening. I too ran from the police, broken close to my block. I too marched along with the elders in the city, and by now that I reflect on it, the leaders of that struggle were only 23 and 21 years old. Macandal Gaga, Geddes Granger, was 23 years old at the time, leading a mass movement. And Kafra Kambo was 21 years old. So today when I speak at 23-year-old and a 21-year-old, I know what they have inside of them, I know what the potential is. But by virtue of those experiences, I have never, ever, ever in my life had difficulty with my Africanness. Never. Even when I was a police officer, having joined in 1976 at the age of 18, I believe I became a Rastaman while I was in the police service in my consciousness. And I know as a police officer what was the norm for us when we saw the occasional Rasta at that time. And what the ethos was and how we saw him and the impression that we felt quite naturally as ignorant black people. I never had trouble with that. I always had a sense of compassion and understanding and sympathy. So when I ran into the Rasta brothers, it was never with hostility, it was with respect and honor. I understood it. And then the 12 tribes of Israel was born on the street that I grew up on the Ras, Levi, Trini Levi. And I remember when they would gather on a Sunday evening, all adorned in white, with the colors of the ice, green and gold, sisters and brothers, that they gathered to pray. You could be sure the clients were showing up. And it did. I was a policeman at the time, living right there, watching this, but I never had difficulty with it. To this day, I have a close relationship with and work very closely with the 12 tribes of Israel as an expression of our Africanness. And my dreadlocks came in the spirit of consciousness back in 1990 while I was a student in England. So, while in the police service, I went in with, and my consciousness remained with me. I left, I became an insurance salesman, that didn't go. I left Trinidad to study abroad, and it was while in England, in dealing with that very racist environment, where I saw the condition of black people who were born and living there for generations, all people. And I saw their circumstances, I felt that my black skin was not enough to say who I was. So I took the name Kojo. When I learned for the first time that I was born on a Monday, I knew it was the 3rd of December 1956, but I never knew what day the 3rd was. I did the research, very simple, and I discovered that I was born on a Monday. And I gathered from some more research that I may have emanated from Ghana, the Ghanaian area in West Africa, and I took the name Kojo, which I carry to this day. And then, in an expression of the development and consciousness of myself, I felt the time came when I must make a statement. I must grow my locks and let them flow as an outward sign of an inner feeling. And I did that. And I said, till death was about. So I am very proud of who I am. I am very proud pride and that consciousness doesn't make me feel superior to anyone else. Even those who felt quite naturally superior to me, but I know they are not. I know the history. I know from whence we came. And I know, as Father Jason knows, that the Bible is the blackest book in town. But they did a lot of good work in taking the Africanness out of the Bible. So even though they told us that Samson had locks, even though they told us where Jesus Christ was born, and he was sent running from Pharaoh to hide among the Egyptians, that alone told us what he looked like, because a white man couldn't hide among African people. So we understood those things, and it is on those spiritual and historical truths that we stand in pride to this time. We have just come out of the celebration of the continuum of the process of emancipation that was celebrated on the 1st of this month. We recognize the passing of some of our elders, chiefs, Leroy Clark, Elder Leroy Clark, Master Craftsman, Master Artist, Lutalo Simba, Sister Singing Sandra, and so many others who have gone before in the way we will all eventually go. And the struggle continues. But I'm really proud of those who kept the flame of the Orisha tradition alive. Only Father knows what they went through. I frequented the parlor in my neighborhood in Gonzales as a child and looked on with curiosity at some of the goings on. It was there learned to play the drum. I didn't know about to play the drum. Right now in the street. Today, this demonstration of consciousness continues. They have said correctly, they take me out of Africa, but they can't take Africa out of me. Even though some of us try as Bob Marley says to run away from ourselves. You know, in observing Africa and African people, Africa is the largest continent in the world in terms of land space. Africa is the richest continent in the world. And when you look at Africa, you see everything. Listen, they have all kind of shape, size, color in Africa. Africa is the mother of human civilization. Everybody knows. The fact that we could have kept these traditions alive after over 450 years of the bleaching and the drenching and the torment and the punishment that we have been through is enough for our celebration. After all of these years, the Rastaman still talks about back to Africa, lessons he learned from Honorable Marcus Garvey. After all of these years, Brother Ola Kutini, this evening, we talk about the Roma village, to return to our roots. Because we are not all together very proud of the way a lot of us are born. We know that we have been put upon, we have been disadvantaged, we have been marginalized, we have been discriminated against, and we still experience that today. We still are today. The Archbishop is a conscious man, we know it. But Mother Trinidad and Tobago is trying to make a home for all of us in various ways, and today we are here. And it is really with great honor and pride that I can hear you say that we want to return to some of the ways of our ancestors with a re-establishment and the re-recognition of the Yoruba village, the Yoruba town. We have Chinatown. We have all Chinatown. But on this occasion, we are saying we want to do this. And this is very, very important. I, as member of parliament, interfacing with thousands of people over the 25 years as I represented the people of Lavender and the people of Lavender, I have seen firsthand where a lack of sense of consciousness and a lack of sense of self-confidence, self-esteem, self-worth has been responsible for a lot of the conditions of the ideas. So I understand, like you do, the importance of recognizing pride of self and our history. So it is in that context I see the great value of what Brother Ola and the team family wants to achieve. And that is why from the day he mentioned this to me, I pledged my support. And I live by my word. And anything I can do to add to advancing this very noble and worthwhile and spiritually uplifting and psychologically uplifting and socially uplifting project, you have my first So the honor and the pleasure is mine. I would like to ask those else who must join us. As I watch this project in the court, I remember I spoke about President Robinson, but not long ago about Prime Minister. A son from Africa went to Ghana on official business. But that was more than he went for, more than he expected, because they inducted him into one of the leaders Akan tribe. They consecrated him, if I may use that word, and they adorned him in this wonderful kingdom. You would have seen it. Greatly touched by that experience, as he must be.
It's good to see the national
So if it pleases you, and I've been asked to formally
Bags, Eruwa, Eastern Quarry, Presgalans, Moda, KK, Silas, Ogun State, Gonzales, Oderemo, Upper Gonzales, Ilaro, Lower Gonzales, Ile State, Port of Spain South, Ijebu Ife, East Dry River, Lagos, Belmont, Ikeja, Upper Belmont, Echo, Lower Belmont, Epen, Mary Road or Romaine Lands, Oyo State, Mova, and yes, Oyo State is particularly significant because many people say that Trinidad is Shango country. It's Shango country. And that is because a lot of us can trace our ancestry to Oyo. So much so that Spirit again said that Isam, Ile Shango Shumelusa, is also Little Oyo. Saki, Monripo, Oyo, Chinapu, Ibadan, Paradise Heights, Opo, Meso, Never Dirty, Oye Ikiti, Caledonia 1, Ado Ikiti, Caledonia 2, Isin, Coconut Drive. With this map, it means that when we teach our children what represents the people of African descent in Trinidad, we don't only have to say Sierra Leone and then have to check and look and look and look. It is easily identified.
But changing the image. So now they say Oyo State. Or the beat of gardens, they don't rename it, and then they rename something again. And you brand it. And the history of the most
program and to share with us
the challenge, our greatest challenge, is to go out there and sell this. That's what I think. A lot of education. And I'm happy, you know, that it's not just we alone, we know we have to, you know, support. Yes. Very nice.
I understand.
This is the logo of the National Trust, you know, and as people like them, we have working with us, National Archives, donated this, and we can plan. People like them, we have behind us. And I hope that when we get the community behind us, that is what them,
This is one of a series of meetings that first thing that comes to my mind is Baba. Yeah, Baba. Kojo. I like how that sounds. Our MP was present at, we had a few people from various parts of Yaramba village being here and saying what they want. So when I noticed, as Bishop was showing the PowerPoint, yes, of one of your community meetings, it's a similar process. So we walking the talk, doing well, congratulations.
Smite the pod and the seeds will scatter. That was their policy. To control my land, Africa in the 14th century. Money times and trades in the world today. So we gonna stop till when we ricochet. The seeds are mortalizing, as we all know. But all of this strong,
done, well done, well done. Well done.
Yes. The village map has been revealed. Yoruba, Yaraba Kingdom. It is coming. So from Maroon to Ayashe, we understand the task that we take, but we know that we take and one of the regional ancestors take advance. Yes. Because they're concerned about our children, the ancestors that are coming back.
Our jewels.
Our jewels. Yes? And part of that, of course, is education. Baba mentioned all those who are partnering with Success Laboratory and Egbe Emotion, including the National Trust, the National Archives, NALIS, UNESCO, Emancipation Support Committee, and of course within our communities we have the IFA Foundation and the support of various shrines and organizations within the area and external to the area, but always we support each other. We have had meetings here with shrine leaders all the way from Shabuanas, from San Fernando, from Sanro, Santa Cruz. The IFA Foundation this afternoon is represented by Stacey Gould. Yes. So, would you like to share a little bit about the plans you all have? Because this launch is from emancipation to African History Month in November. Yes. Yes? So, part of it would be, I would like you all to speak about your part in contributing so that other organizations who may hear of it over that 3-month, 4-month period would know that they can speak with Baba Kitime, speak with Ia, myself, probably Nalis, get involved. This is not eating, cheating, it's reading. And it's all about educating all our children. And it's not only, don't think it's only for people from Labanti, it's only people from Gonzales, it's only them black people thing. No, this is our thing. Emancipation is a human process. It just so happened that one of the Guardians of Islam we have to take, you see these people here, they have the strength to teach the world that lesson. Yeah?
Thank you. My name is Stacey Ulias Bianca Patawini is my name. I am the president of the IFA Foundation Caribbean Organization, and we are very delighted to be a part of this collaborative effort in the renaming. One of the things that I want to start with is that what has been so pressing on my spirit, and I like how you wrote it out, is an ancestral vice of poetry land. And it's a merchant song that was played in my head since yesterday, which is Let Us Build a Nation Together. And I want to just start the song, it's like an echo, it's like a boom in my head. Caribbean organization. I've heard about the cultural aspect of the African presence, and one of the things that we would be pressing on is the academic and educational aspect of the African presence in the diaspora. What we're saying as well as the foundation is that not only are Mauritius here in culture, in art, in music, in arts, they're also here in education, mathematics, science, social studies, the whole consistent, the whole curriculum. As the IFA Foundation, one of these things that we're seeing coming out, and basically as the MP says, is that we're seeing children, black children, let's not separate them, who is Orisha, who is Baptist, who is this Pentecostal, African children slipping through the cracks. And we're realizing that the system that we're in is not really working, discipline-wise, academically-wise, because they learn differently. And one of the things that we have to go back to is the history. And as the foundation, we'll be going back to a lot of the historical aspects that they use to teach childhood, to teach womanhood, to teach manhood, which have been eliminated from our knowledge as well. We are also going back to teach, for example, I heard presently about the Bible, what we have to go do, and 16 major Odus, and in the Odus it have many of the principles that are existed in the Bible as well, right? So the IFA Foundation, we have only now begun, but we have a lot of work ahead of us in getting it out there that we also have our own words, which was the Odu Meshis, and they have beautiful stories, narratives behind it, just like parables that teaches so many lessons and life lessons that we need to learn, and that I believe if our children really start to feed into this, they too will grow and become better citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. I would also appreciate to develop a better citizen and also to push patriotism, and to build a nation together, right? And this, I thank you for the opportunity. I thank the network, the Success Laboratory Network Committee. I thank Iwer, Oyosha, and Inalis and everyone for having us be a part of this big event. Thank you. Certainly, we can teach the whole curriculum without Calypso, which is Trini, Pataki, Trini, Oriki, and when we add that with the global, very global, we get to go. We'll certainly build our nation together. This has been momentous, it has been wonderful. I am very glad that my OB decided, I'm elated that my OB decided that I will be here today. And yours as well. We have the...
So this brings us to the end of tonight's proceedings here on the IFA Orisha Way of Life. We must say thanks to Ile, the Success Lavantil Networking Committee for an ear curtain, Aina, and all Princess Anna Baker for all that they have been doing during this month here. There are more presentations that will be coming up. We need to highlight the good job that the Orisha community is doing. So we say, may Olodumare continue to bless us. May the Orishas continue to guide and protect us. And remember, next week, Monday, right here on the Street 919 FM, it's all about the IFA Orisha Way of Life with yours truly, MC Duke, Alatumishe, and my co-host, King Shaka. See you guys next week.
Feel a vibration, feel a rhythm.
Salvation, full and free. Salvation is for everybody. Mondays from 10 p.m. to 12 midnight. That's 10 p.m. to 12 midnight on 91.9 FM.
You have to get before God and cry out before God. And sometimes Sister Judy might have to tell you, cool it down a little bit, because you're just calling and bawling and crying before your God in prayer meeting. And all you know, I just want to see my children saved. I just want to see my family elevated in the things of God. There are times, we will have to step up and become unselfish. Well, they live their life. It's time for me to live mine. You have to become unselfish in your actions. There are times you have to be